This is the story of the three billy goats Gruff. Now, the three billy goats in question were Edgar, he was the biggest, Ernest, he was the middle one, and Eric, the smallest, and they all lived in a field by a river. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen a billy goat in real life, but they spend most of their time just eating. They eat grass, leaves, and just about anything that you put in front of them, and Edgar, Ernest, and Eric were no different. Every day they chomp and munch and chew and swallow and gulp and scoff everything in sight, but mainly grass, as the choice of what there was to eat was limited to say the least. In fact, if the truth be known, they were all getting a bit fed up of eating the same old grass every day. "I wish there was something else to eat," sighed Edgar. "A lovely plate of fish and chips with some bread and butter would go down a treat." "Oh, yes," said Ernest. "I wish there was more choice too. But I'd go for a lovely pizza with some red peppers and maybe some extra cheese. Well, all this talk of food made little Eric feel very hungry. "That all sounds delicious," he said. "But I'd go for an artichoke and portobello mushroom salad with lemon gremolata." Now, I haven't a clue what that is, but it was Eric's favourite. He had quite sophisticated tastes. They were all daydreaming about having something better to eat when Edgar had an idea. "I know," he said. "Why don't we cross the river and see if there's anything better in the next field? We're running out of grass in this field, so we're going to have to do something." "You're right," said Ernest. "And the grass on the other side of the river looks greener and tastier too." Little Eric had been listening to his two friends with a certain amount of dismay. "Have you two forgotten something?" he said. "There's a nasty troll that sits under the bridge all day, waiting for somebody to cross the river, and when they try to use his bridge, he gobbles them up. He's horrible. We'll never get past him." Edgar and Ernest knew little Eric was right. The troll was famous for being grumpy and cantankerous and, well, not very nice. Oh, and for gobbling people up too. "So what are we going to do?" said Edgar. "We're going to run out of grass in this field, so we need a plan." "I know," said Ernest. He was the middle-sized one and was quite good at coming up with ideas. "We'll go across the bridge, one by one, as quietly as we can, when the troll's asleep. Once we've made it to the other side, we'll be safe." "Brilliant," said Eric. "Who's going first?" Edgar and Ernest looked at little Eric knowingly. Said Eric. "I thought it might be me. OK, I'll do it." So little Eric made his way to the rickety bridge and got ready to cross. Now, I haven't told you very much about the nasty troll that lived under the bridge, apart from telling you that he was grumpy and gobbled up anyone who woke him up when they tried to cross his bridge. So how do I describe him? Well, just imagine the grumpiest, scowliest, most miserable face you can, and then imagine that face even grumpier, scowlier, and even more miserable, and you'll have a picture of the troll in your mind. The troll didn't even have a name. He was too miserable to have a name, so he was just called Troll. Not very nice, is it? He had manky, unkempt hair, which he never combed, horrible broken teeth, which he never cleaned, and on top of that, he used to burp and make worse noises all the time. You know what I mean? "I'm a troll, and I live in a hole," he'd say. "I don't like people walking across my bridge, because the banging their feet make as they cross wakes me up from my beauty sleep, and I need all the beauty sleep I can get, so keep quiet." You see what I mean about him being grumpy? Anyway, you remember Edgar, Ernest and Eric's plan to cross the bridge very quietly so as not to wake the troll up? Well, the troll was fast asleep in his usual place underneath the rickety bridge, so little Eric seized his chance to cross. Now, goats' feet are a bit unusual in that they're actually hooves which are very hard indeed. So almost as soon as little Eric set foot on the rickety bridge, the clip-clopping of his feet woke the troll up. "Arrgh!" grumbled the troll. "Who's making all that clip-clopping noise over my bridge? Whoever it is has woken me from a lovely dream I was having about spiders. So as a punishment, I'm going to gobble them up for dinner." Well, little Eric was terrified at this. "Oh, please, Mr. Troll," he pleaded, "please don't eat me. I'm far too little. There's not much of me. You'd be far better off waiting for my middle-sized friend Ernest. There's more of him, and he's much tastier." What an awful thing to say about your friend. But anyway, this seemed to work, and the troll said, "OK then, I'll let you go. I'll wait for your middle-sized friend to come along instead. You've had a lucky escape. Now scram!" And with that, little Eric scampered across to the other side. Next to try crossing the bridge was Ernest. He was the medium-sized goat and was a bit heavier than little Eric, so he knew he'd have to be really careful and not disturb the troll. He stepped onto the rickety wooden bridge very carefully. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. He tried so hard to step quietly, but on step number 4, he woke the troll up. "Grrr!" grumbled the troll. "Who's crossing my bridge? I was having a lovely dream about slimy frogs, and somebody's gone and spoiled it. I'm going to gobble them up to make sure they don't do it again." Ernest quivered with fright. "Oh, sorry, Mr. Troll," he cried. "I really didn't mean to wake you up. Please don't gobble me up. I'm only a medium-sized goat. You'd be far better off waiting for my bigger friend Edgar. He'll be far tastier than me." That was another awful thing to say about your friend. I was shocked when I heard that. Anyway, the troll grumped and scowled for a bit, and then he said, "Grrr! All right then. I'm very hungry, so I'll wait for you and this big Edgar goat to come along. You've had a very lucky escape too, so scram and join your little friend on the other side. Go on, scram!" And Ernest ran across the bridge as fast as he could to join little Eric. A couple of hours passed by, and the troll was fast asleep again under the rickety wooden bridge, so Edgar took his chance to cross. Now, because Edgar was the biggest of the 3 billy goats, he had to be especially careful to cross as quietly as he could. He put his first hoof on the bridge, then the second, then the third. It was all going well until the 4th hoof clopped onto the bridge and woke the troll up. "Grrr!" said the troll. "Who's making all that noise? I was having a dream about slugs and snails, and somebody's woken me up. I'm going to gobble them up for my dinner. That'll teach 'em." When Edgar heard this, he was a bit shocked. He knew of the troll's reputation for gobbling people up, but instead of running away, he decided to stand his ground. "Ah," said the troll, "it's you, the biggest and tastiest of the billy goats. I've been waiting for you. The others were right. You'll make a very tasty meal." Well, Edgar wasn't going to stand for this. He wasn't going to be gobbled up by a nasty troll. So he stood there in the middle of the bridge and didn't move. The troll came closer to him. "Grrr!" said the troll. "I'm going to get you now. I think I'll eat you with a little side salad." He came closer and closer to Edgar, but Edgar didn't move. Closer and closer came the troll, his arms outstretched, ready to catch Edgar in case he tried to run away. But Edgar wasn't frightened of the nasty troll. He just waited until the troll got closer and closer, and just at the point where he thought the troll was going to grab him, Edgar biffed him with his horns. This sent the troll flying through the air, over the edge of the bridge, and down into the river below with a great big splash. The troll was soaked from head to foot and was very angry. He splashed about in the water, grumping and complaining, until he made his way to the riverbank in safety. Edgar, meanwhile, hadn't stopped to watch. He clip-clopped over the bridge to join Ernest and Eric, who were waiting for him on the other side. "Phew," said Ernest. "That was close. We saw you toss the troll into the river. Well done." "Yes," said little Eric. "Good work. You certainly taught him a lesson." Now that the three billy goats Gruff were on the other side of the river, they thought about all that lovely food they dreamed about. Only there wasn't any fish and chips, no pizza, and no artichoke and portobello mushroom salad with lemon gremolata. No, I still don't know what that is. No, there was nothing quite so exciting. But after all they'd been through, Edgar, Ernest and Eric were quite happy to munch on fresh grass for the rest of their days. Back under the bridge, the troll was hanging his wet clothes up to dry. He'd had such a shock from being thrown into the river that he decided that from that day on he'd try to be less grumpy. He also decided to allow people to pass over his bridge. As long as they were quiet, that is.